24 Hello, Maureen. To the 2013 International UFO Congress. Submitted to festival for public screening, at no charge. You said on the entry guidelines. 1. UFO-related films that were completed, or will be completed, within the 2 most recent years, 2011-2013, are eligible to enter the film festival. Films released prior to 2011 may be submitted to the festival for public screening, at no charge, but will not be eligible for judging or awards. Such films will be shown only, if time allows. Our UFO pictures comes from the 2008 International UFO Congress we attended, where the aliens visited with us. They came out of the sky, down the mountain, around the rocks, then came back with us to the Congress for the meeting, then went to Roswell with us. In the process they took us and the car. By the way, the beam-me-up-scopy beam works. When we came back home we went to the park. They were there. They are always in the sky park, over the house, in the tree, in the yard and on the porch. I do know who some are, and I also know why I was given the information/documentation. I never did show the 2008 International Congress the pictures, because I didn't know I had them, until we came home. They have been and are still with us now. How did that happen? We asked Charlie and Jim if we could see the hieroglyphic. They were showing us pictures. We asked could we go out to Christmas Tree Pass and see the hieroglyphic. They said yes, but be careful, because if you break your ankle you would and will be out there a long time. That afternoon it was time for the alien contact to speak to the main audience. The Oracle and I stood up. We looked around, paused, then said to the 2008 International UFO Congress pack house audience, I am the team captain, the supreme ambassador to the Federation of Planets and the negotiator for the planet Earth, and I can prove it. Later we had a conversation with Wendell Stephen and Donald Ware. They told us the aliens were looking for someone to speak for the planet Earth. I told them that's why we were here. We asked them could we go for a ride. They said sure and smiled. Noontime break 30 minutes later and we were out there. Strange that there are no Christmas trees. That's when the aliens came out of the sky and where the mountain pictures come from. So I want to thank Wendell Stephen and Donald Ware. That was real quick. I remind you that Wendell Stephen and Donald Ware both told us the aliens wanted someone to speak for the planet, and that these same aliens have chosen us as the leaders of the planet Earth and have been with us ever since. Both of these conversations can all be confirmed with Charlie, Jim and Donald Ware. From the 2008 International UFO Congress, Maureen. Please have our conversation with Charlie, Jim and Donald Ware confirmed with replies back. More confirmation. With us now are the Angel, the Man from Mars, the Orbs and the peculiar silicate-associated phenomena, the Terminator, the Majestic 12, Faction 1, Faction 2 and Faction 3, all the alphabet soup boys and girls, all branches, that's every country and nation on the planet, the UFO, paranormal experts, our 80 UFO paranormal experts, our Congress, the Senate, our team members and the people of planet Earth now reading or will be reading or listening to our very revealing X-Files. From the godlike form conversation with Wise Ware, I and the President and his cabinet members pro se attorney, another confirmation. I now speak for Planet Earth from Omaha, Nebraska on Community Broadcast Channel 22 and 109, every Fridays nights at 7 p.m. Maureen, I informed the Omaha UFO Study MUFON group and asked them for an official investigation. Their reply, in a message dated May 21, 2010, 8 hours 44 minutes and 56 seconds p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, Stebasnotras@cox.net writes, I'm afraid your punctuation and spelling errors, writing in incomplete sentences and copy/pasting a long series of disconnected and poorly written text makes your request unanswerable. You also did not attach any photos other than those of yourself and of people you've met, and of public officials. If you have photos of craft, I'm happy to take a look. If you have video, post it to YouTube. The manner in which you communicate is frankly incoherent, disconnected, tangential, manic and seemingly delusional. If this is your typical means of communication, I see your demands for a response and attention impossible to answer by anyone. Take the time to organize your thoughts, with help, if you need it. Just being honest. Hello, Steve. Among other things you said, the manner in which you communicate is frankly incoherent, disconnected, tangential, manic and seemingly delusional. But you gave good advice. Your advice? Take the time to organize your thoughts, with help, if you need it. Question. Is that the general responses when someone wants the University of Nebraska at Omaha UFO study group or a MUFON investigations? If so, it sounds like there's something wrong with the smart people. Turning down investigations? That's not what I expected or anyone would expect from them. You know, Maureen, since the MUFON organizations they have been taken over by aliens, they are really hard to get along with. Question. Why would I think the MUFON org were taken over by aliens? Because they told one obvious dumb lie, one right after another. That will make a lot more, since later on, when we came back home, I contacted the Roswell Museum. They referred us to Stanton Freeman and his buddy. According to them, on the video we showed them, they didn't see anything, which was an obvious lie again. How do I know that? The 2008 International UFO Congress verified our UFO contact was real. They were both saying our own Omaha, Nebraska Mr. Harry Jordan, Dr. Jack Kasher, the Majestic 12 Eagle team members, the members of the International UFO Congress were all wrong. Did I believe that? Would any of you? No. Why else? Because they sided almost word for word with the Omaha UFO study group above. The only thing they have in common is the same problem. Aliens and Bill H.R. 2977. Besides from the MUFON org being taken over, I had a conversation with Dr. Greer answering service. I asked her, Debbie, why does Dr. Greer not just sue them? Take them to court? She said they did not have enough money, so I said I was going to sue some attorney here anyway, so I would just add Dr. Greer and Ted Loader 500 or so pages alien disclosure in there. I was suing attorney and Nebraska bar for $53 billion. I did it, but they kept the money and left me the title of the team captain, the supreme ambassador to the Federation of Planets and the negotiator for the planet Earth. They smiled and then told me, go find yourself a good attorney. As I told Bob Brown in another conversation, he said get them. We can all do that now. Another confirmation. To make a long story short, I met Dr. Dan, Dr. Marcy and the Majestic Eagle members, and I was telling them someone was shooting over the house and they offered to call the police for help. Then I told them it was two UFOs having a war over the house. That was verified later by the Majestic 12 Team Eagles team members, Dr. Richard Boylan, and even the 2008 International UFO Congress. Another confirmation. But Stanton Freeman and his running buddy did not see a thing. Wow. They both broke the 11th commandment. But the really interesting part is on the godlike form. I met a man by the name of Wiseware, which I found out later was in the president's inner circle. After several conversations he invited me to speak to his worldwide group on Skype and show pictures and conversation back and forth. When I thought about it, it was the 80 authors' information I had been reading. The point is he accepted me, as I had said. The team captain, the supreme ambassador to the Federation of Planets and the negotiator for the planet Earth, and was willing to accept me, as negotiator for the planet Earth. Why not? I was already Dr. Stephen Greer disclosure attorney. Wiseware? Now, if anyone would know who he is, it would be Nick Pope and Richard Dolan. According to him, he knows them both very well. I did consider telling the 80 authors and members. Then again, I consider how that would have sounded. To make another long story short, again, we adopted us a movie star daughter, Princess J, and husband. They have movies out now. Take a little peek at our front page, worldwideweb.lecinsurx.org. What do you think? Good choice? Now we had some fresh opinions. After a while, seeing her talent for truth, we made her our lead planet negotiator. She, Princess J, will be speaking for all of us. Did I say all? Another confirmation. To the CIA, all the alphabet soup boys, girls and agents there, you can't stand down now. You have new orders that supersede all others. Of course some of you are going to say, who gives those orders? And then I say, read them for yourself. worldwideweb.lecinsurx.org. Then ask yourself this one little question. Do you work for them? Or, do they work for you? This is the year of disclosure. 2013 is our freedom to speak freely year, but it's a personal choice for all to take full advantage of it. By the time of the 1985 treaty discussions, Danny was making a distinction for himself at the University of Nevada, as a scholar and a rebellious troublemaker. We extended the discussions for another year, as a suitable candidate had not yet been determined. Robert Lazar was in this group of candidates. By 1986 we had decided that Mr. Laser was possibly one of the best to steer that way, but he quickly got out of control and didn't realize the doors that were being opened to him. Rather, he was too much the rebel. Several other characters have since also been assigned to assist in the information release. While Mr. Laser pulled himself apart, and we were helping a little because of his loose cannon nature, we set our eyes on Danny. Danny was inducted in 1986 and was almost immediately given a small bin of information to hide. He wasn't aware that his information was of little importance at the time, little more than Mr. Laser had already released. The first test release was done to reporter George Knapp, and Danny performed brilliantly, denying everything but showing a psychological willingness to tell the truth about a subject so important to mankind. Such metered releases from us continued to Mr. Knapp and progressed, as time went by, into a treaty-authorized set of releases to the public for two purposes: one, to fulfill a moral and ethical obligation to evolve certain information, as required in the treaties, subordinate to an open government release that would eventuate a panicking populace, and later, two, we found, to release Lotus information to the right sources that would carry it as a myth into the future. That myth will eventually prompt the Lotus model being found at the right time. Mr. Laser and George Knapp, we thank you both. The truth makes you feel right, as rain, don't it? George Knapp, let's not be so bitter, alright? The truth is, it is supposed to. No, it will set you and all of us free. I have a ton of information in my head and on paper on 38 DVDX files all ready to go galactic, worldwide, international, for local news. I remind you, George, it's hard to find an emergency exit in a real bathroom rush. Another confirmation. How about one more confirmation to put a cap on it? Does Targ's presence at the conversation between Simone and Burish square with the blabbersome do on the internet about no interest? No, it doesn't seem to. Here's our favorite Eagles team captain. Dr. Dan loved meeting him and his lady. George Knapp, as many conversations as we have had in the past. Who did you think was going to release the next information to the world? You and Mr. Laser have both played a great part in our human history. I know we honor you both highly, as all the world should and will. Why don't you and Mr. Laser both come take some pictures with us and the angel, the man from Mars, the orbs, and the peculiar silicate-associated phenomena in Omaha, Nebraska? Sometimes called the Lotus Project or godlike particle. I know some people may have, or did, said some mean things to others, but under the circumstances they were under, I can now understand why. Now that it's all out in the open, this is disclosure, we can all change our position and direction we were headed in, and now go in leaps and bounds into healthier directions. Maureen, please tell Sergeant Odin from our conversation, I still don't think that was right. I will do something about that little problem we talked about. Hello, Donald Ware. That's what happened. After we talked to you and Wendell during lunch break, we went for the ride. I have to ask, just out of curiosity, did either of you know? We showed Nick Pope and Richard Dolan our Space War video, same one the Congress reviewed. Nick Pope said they weren't supposed to do that. Richard Dolan said, you're in deep. As smart as Nick Pope and Richard Dolan are, smile. Then tell them they missed it. But if there is a problem, then there is an answer. There is a problem until we put our heads together and work together, correct? When it comes down to it, all of you can come to verify that we are who we say we are. If none of you experts can debunk our documentation and information, then we are who we say we are, correct? Yes or no? There is no such thing as you never can tell. Yes, I know about MUFON.org, bag order from Elaine Douglas, the UFO Digest. J number 1 cancelled that. That would have held back honesty, truth, and personal free will choice. So we do expect all of you serious experts to review our documentation and information then and come decide. After that, we all come together and change the world together. Dr. Dent said, tell the world. I say, the world is not enough. Tell the people on the other worlds and planets. I am the team captain, the supreme ambassador to the Federation of Planets and the negotiator for the planet Earth. I speak for the planet Earth. Disclosure picture documentations. December alien visit home on YouTube CTI slide _1.WNB worldwideweb.youtube.com web link. Submitted to the 2013 International UFO Congress Film Festival. to fulfill a moral and ethical obligation to evolve certain information, as required in the treaties. Your replies are requested, please. Maureen@ufocongress.com. Trip@communitydealcast.com. Lekinseri@aol.com.